Hi Taurus, this is Lee at Fresh Astrology. How are you? So we're looking at August 2019, and the big news this month, I think, is Jupiter turning around and going direct. Many other things are happening, of course. I'm just going to focus on this, and we'll talk about that. And also, how did you do during eclipse season in July? The eclipses were hitting everyone's chart. Across this axis has been active for all of us. So it's this unfolding story that's been happening for many, many months and will play out over the next 6 to 7 months going into the new year. So the eclipses happening in July are directly relevant to things happening in January and February in the coming year. This is a big change for each one of us. Wherever this is hitting our chart, this is a big change for us. Some big things are happening. So for a Taurus, the big things are happening in the ninth house. So this has to do with international travel, global issues, big ideas like your religion, your philosophy, maybe your political position. So it can have to do with politics. It can have to do with travel plans or travel kind of lifestyle, travel for work. It can also be about universities and learning and teaching. So if you want to go to university or you have a child going off to university, it could be that. It could be you going to school. It could be you teaching in a university setting. Or maybe not even a university setting, but teaching something and becoming more of a subject matter expert. So it's less likely to be teaching someone how to cook eggs, unless you're cooking, teaching somebody how to cook souffles and more complicated dishes, and maybe doing it online, being filmed or writing a cookbook. If it involves all that, it could be in this ninth house area. But it's just like teaching like a kid how to cook eggs. It's not in the ninth house. Or even like a little local class, in your town. If you're teaching like a small skill, it's less likely to be up here in the ninth house. But, it's possible. It depends on what else is involved. But are you a subject matter expert? Are you teaching? Are you getting involved in teaching in any way? That is the big change going on for you in that case. Or are you thinking about going to school to learn and become more of an expert at some topic by going to school? And it doesn't have to be an actual university campus. Again, it kind of depends. There's so much online now that it could be something online even. There's also a theme of publishing and public speaking. So if you're involved in that, this is a big moment for you. This is kind of a turning point for you where this becomes more of your life. So it's a big thing. This is not small potatoes, and it's been unfolding throughout the summer and even over the last, since the beginning of the year and end of last year, and then it's culminating at the beginning of the new year. So this is just an unfolding story where, there are chapters, and you just had a big chapter unfold in July where some things became clear, where some unhelpful pieces of the vision dropped away, and then other things were solid and stayed. So whatever this plan, this vision is, it's getting more clear and crystallized, and you're building a stronger foundation for whatever it is you want to do, whether it's build a house in a different country, or something to do with teaching, or something to do with writing a book, or a public speaking career, getting on the lecture circuit. The plan is becoming more solid, and then some of the things that weren't as solid are dropping away. So, just depends on the Taurus. What is it for you? Does any of that make sense to you? Sometimes if you're in a second, or you've been in a first long-term relationship and that ended, this could be about a second long-term relationship. So for some of you, it could be about that. Um, but Jupiter is in your money house right now. It's been here for 7 or so months, 7, 8 months, and will be here for a few months longer. And so it could be that money wise, even though you've had luck with money this year, since April, maybe you've been spending a lot of money, or not as much money has come in, or if you own stocks, maybe the stock didn't do as well. In August, something to do with your money situation turns around. It may have to do with real estate. So it could be that you have plans to sell real estate or buy real estate, but I think a lot of you are thinking of buying or selling something, land, house, building, property of some sort. And so usually if somebody's selling, they're also thinking of buying. So that's a big project for you right now, and something about it turns around and has forward momentum starting mid-August. So maybe you suddenly have a buyer in mid-August, or you finally get your house on the market, or the land, whatever it is. Could be commercial space too. Maybe you're buying commercial space for a business endeavor. So something starts to move quickly beginning August 11. It may not be exact to that date, but certainly in August, mid-August onward, you'll gather a lot of momentum around whatever this project is that has to do with big money and maybe big loans, maybe big stock purchases or inheritances, and buying and selling property or moving. So, and some people may, there are different variations of this. Sometimes a person, I'll talk to a person and I'll mention these things, and they're like, no, none of that, no real estate, no buying and selling. And then we start talking, they're like, and so I'm helping my mom who's getting older, and we're getting her house ready to go on the market, and yada yada. There's this whole story about real estate. And then it turns out that if the parent sells the property, some of the money will go to the children, and it's like, hello. But we all do this. We have blind spots. We just don't hear it. We don't take in the information and plug it into the right places. But, it could be a parent's property that you might inherit, or should something happen to them, if they sell their home, you would get part of it. It could be helping a child buy real estate or sell real estate. Could be helping, anybody in your family with the same issues, the very same issues. So you can broaden it out, not look at it so narrowly too. Is there any real estate theme anywhere in your life during the month of August that's bigger? It's a bigger, it's very definitive. It's not just that, oh yeah, I happen to own real estate. Is that it? No, it's like a big event, something that's gathering momentum. But it may be, apparent because of the fourth house activity that's normal this time of year. It's a time when you normally like to connect with family in August. You may have like a tradition of gathering with family in late July and the first 3 weeks of August. May just be a time where you like to touch base with your family. But this year, because of the connection to Jupiter in the 8th house, there's more here about property and loans and maybe inheritances and maybe some stocks or trusts. These larger vehicles for money are implicated here. So that's the gist. Those are the bigger themes. Let's see what else we can say here. You had Mercury retrograde in this area that has a little to do with school and writing and communicating. So there's definitely this writing, communicating theme, something to do with learning and teaching, coursework. Again, this could be anything from if you have a third grader and getting them ready for school, or tutoring them, or thinking about if should they go to a different school, to all the way up to a college kid, or just yourself. Are you learning some skills and or are you some kind of expert or getting ready to teach something? So that's just kind of also talked about in a different area of the chart where Mercury is retrograde. I think a lot of you are rethinking something to do with this big idea, this publishing, marketing, teaching, learning proposition. You were rethinking pieces of it, doing some maybe research, review of whatever this big project is that you're doing. And you may have several projects going on right now, but July was a month to rethink, review, do research. So a lot of you would have been taken up with that. Then toward the end of August, there's a shift from the home and the real estate and the family stuff over to the 5th house, where you want to, toward the end of August and beginning of September, you're looking at your creativity and having fun. And I think that's a good time to start playing around, really using your imagination and your creativity to work on whatever these big projects are. There's some big idea, big project, big change in your life that's coming up. And I think August and early September are times to really play and have fun with these ideas. They seem weighty and big, maybe even a little intimidating, some of these projects you're working on, or big ideas. Like if you wanted to move to a foreign country, that could seem kind of scary too. But in late August, early September, you have fun too. Just make sure you're still having fun with the idea. It doesn't have to be scary all the time. You can find the fun. Late August, early September, maybe some stuff going on with children. Certainly it's a time of year, at least where I live, where if you have young children, there's a lot of activity with them in late, getting them off to school and acclimated into their school year, and it's this very busy time. My kids are now older than that, but I know if you're a younger parent with younger kids, it's a very busy time. But again, the emphasis on it usually feels fun, or it could feel fun, to get back together with everyone. You see people you haven't seen all summer. So there's an emphasis on fun and also romance. So whether you're single or not, late August, early September could be kind of a fun and also romantic time. And it's just like always this way for a Taurus at this time of year. It's kind of, there's some kind of just your internal clock. It's a time when you feel more romantic, I guess. So there's that. So it's a fun time for you. But there are these bigger projects going on, these bigger things going on. Just remember to, make time for fun and have fun too. Use your imagination. All right. Take care.